You think you know what we're going to talk about.
But unfortunately, I fell down a damn rabbit hole and I've not gotten out yet.
Knife bros.
I literally Googled Sebastian Stan hands.
But just when you least expect it, we changed the game.
Well, yeah, because like usually in astrology, they would partner up air signs with fire signs.
All right, you can huggle.
Time travel stories and
At the end of the day, only one thing matters. We decide.
Well, we should make it a topic. Unfortunately, I didn't take German in school. I took Spanish and I don't remember any of it.
Three Fates Decide podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Three Fates Decide. This is Mary, and I'm with my two co-hosts, Sam and Liz.
Hello.
Hey.
And today we are going to be doing a recap of the Disney Plus series, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We just watched the last episode yesterday. And what a journey have we gone on with that show, ladies.
I can't believe it's been 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, it just flew by. Like, I can't believe it's over. Like, I'm not ready for it to be over.
Same.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But, I think one thing that, and I just remember when they were leading up to it, like they kept saying like, oh, it's not shot like WandaVision. It's not shot the same thing as WandaVision. It's a movie. It's a 6-hour movie or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I just remember like, I watched the first episode and I everyone was like, oh, it's there's nothing, like it was boring. It was this, that. And I'm like, but they're telling you this is like a movie. This is like a 6-hour movie. So think about every single movie that comes out. You don't just jump right into the action. Okay, let's go.
Exactly.
Where WandaVision, each individual, I mean, yeah, they all like joined together, but each individual episode was its own episode.
Yes.
Like a sitcom, where this is, it was literally a 6-hour movie. So it starts off as, figuring out where these guys are, and then it builds, and then obviously to the finale, which was yesterday.
I know. I'm so sad it's over, but oh my goodness. I thought it was an amazing end to an amazing show.
Agreed. I did enjoy it. I thought it was a very good episode.
I'm like you. I'm just sad it's over.
I wasn't ready.
Same. Was not ready for this to be over. But I mean, if you go back all the way back to season 1 to episode 1, and we saw Sam Wilson's character, Anthony Mackie's character, Sam Wilson, come into his own.
Oh, absolutely.
And I thought it was such an amazing way for them to bring him. I mean, he's always been kind of like a background character, but to really bring him forward and make him the bam, it's right there in your face. This is Sam. This is who he is. That was so good. And of course, Anthony Mackie is an amazing actor.
Oh, absolutely. I've been a fan of his since 8 Mile.
Same. He was so good as Papa Doc.
I mean, even though it wasn't a big role,
right?
But the little amount. I mean, I was a huge Eminem fan, so
me too.
Which is why I watched 8 Mile. But yeah, just that even like that small role, he made an impression. Like I remember when I saw him again a couple years later in a movie, and I was like, oh, I remember, that's Papa Doc.
Yeah, well, he was in The Hurt Locker. With Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, right? That's kind of funny that.
Yep. An Oscar movie. Oscar-nominated movie.
Yes.
But yeah, no, but I did like the arc of Sam where he went from being, Cap's wingman, and then fighting all the, not just controversy on the outside, but the inner battles that he had in regards to taking the shield.
Yes.
And you really saw him struggle throughout the entire series until finally that last 2 episodes, really episode and a half, that he really realized the power that he could have, not the power, but like the influence he could have on the world by becoming Captain America.
Yes.
So bravo, Anthony Mackie.
Definitely. I mean, he deserves all the he deserves all the accolades and praise that people can put on him, because he did a phenomenally amazing job.
Agreed.
I mean, I think people forget that he is a Juilliard graduate.
Yes, he is.
I mean, he went to one of the most prestigious acting schools around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not easy to get in at all.
No. And
it's a known name. You hear Juilliard and you're like, oh.
Exactly.
He's in the arts.
Exactly. But I'll tell you, the one that I was set to hate from the very beginning was Wyatt Russell's character. I mean, do not get me wrong. I absolutely loathed John Walker. That character.
From the moment he stepped out at the end of the first episode, I was like, I don't like you.
Right. And then the little smirk and wink, that just sealed it for me. I was like, yeah, you're just too damn cocky to be Cat.
Yeah. He definitely was arrogant.
Yes.
Definitely arrogant. But again, and yeah, Wyatt Russell did a fantastic job because he made you hate that character.
Yes.
I mean, I feel bad that he got death threats as a result. I'm sure he didn't, he was okay, but
right.
That just showed how good he was, that he made people feel so strongly. I mean, don't recommend sending death threats to actors because that's just stupid, but
that's don't do that.
Don't do that. But he just did that good of a job at being this hated character that you just wanted to root against him. I mean, it's also hard to not root for Bucky and Sam, but
right. But at the same time, I mean, but I will say Wyatt Russell blew me away, because with his acting ability to make you to be able to act so well as a character, to make people have such a visceral reaction to said character.
Yep.
That's some talent. And of course, being the son of Kurt Russell, going on, that is like
he's big shoes to fill.
Huge shoes, because I mean, his dad is both of his parents are great actors.
Yep.
I mean,
yeah, no, he did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
As John Walker, and I'm interested to see what they do.
Me too.
With that character now that he is officially US agent.
Yes.
So I am interested because based on that last episode, he's not done. So I'm looking forward to see what happens with that, and if anyone follows the comics, they know that he does become part of Hydra.
So. I was gonna say, that's where I thought he was, because obviously Valentina is she's basically Hydra.
Yeah, she's one of the different women that's used the name Madam Hydra in the comics. So
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see how they bring, I mean, to get Julia Louis-Dreyfus to play her.
I just thought it was really impressive they actually hid that. Like, nobody had the slightest clue.
I know.
Like when she came on the screen, I was like, "Oh my god!"
I know.
Like literally, I have never heard anybody like hint or quote unquote leaks about her showing up in anything Marvel related. Like, nothing. I've not heard anything until watching the episode, and I'm like, what?
That's the way I was. I was like, she walked out on screen. I was like, what the hell is Elaine doing here?
Yeah,
know?
right.
I was just like,
I think it's really interesting seeing her play. Like, I mean, she did play it a little comedic, but it's like a dark comedic.
Right.
mm-hmm.
So that's kind of
So,
interesting.
yeah, but I think she's supposed to be, if I remember reading it, that her character was supposed to have been introduced in the Black Widow movie.
Yes, I believe I
Yeah.
read that also. But because that was postponed, they decided to allow it
Yeah,
or to have it be known in
Falcon
this. So
Winter
that'll be good. So we'll get to learn more about her in the upcoming Black Widow movie. So
right.
but
But I am so
Yeah.
sad that we have 7 weeks until Loki comes out.
Yeah,
yeah.
I kind of wonder what's the reasoning behind that kind of timing.
Well, I think it's because Black Widow was supposed to come out in May.
Yeah,
Yeah, but then
and
again,
once again,
yeah,
it's gotten postponed.
yeah. So then it's like kind of strange that they didn't switch it around and moved
Yeah.
it up. Because like they did, I mean, they changed the movie schedule, so it's like I don't know. Because I mean, because if the show is technically like ready to go, then it doesn't seem like there's a reason why they couldn't move it up to like May or something. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Earlier in May, that is.
Right.
But another great. Well, the acting all around was fantastic. But I am bringing him up. We talk about him all the time without mentioning his name, but I'm finally going to say his name, Sebastian Stan, Bucky
Yes,
Barnes,
Yeah.
fantastic, man. I
definitely.
mean, the episode 4, just that beginning alone, how emotional he got, and just the flashbacks. I really and truly and honestly feel that it was one of his best performances as Bucky. And then, of course, we have Io, who comes back from the Dora Milaje after being in a couple of movies. So I was super excited to see her in that also. But that whole scene was just absolutely breathtaking in, his performance and how, from there, when you first see Io again, how much you can tell that she generally cares about him, but at the same time, her allegiance is to Wakanda.
She is. I can tear up and have that softness. That was amazing. That was amazing.
No, absolutely. And honestly, from then on, I mean, even during like that whole episode, where she is back to like her stoic self, even when she tells Bucky like you have 8 hours, and then even when she like dismantles his arm for a minute or whatever, like after when he does give them Zemo in the 5th episode, like you see she has a warm side when it comes to him.
Yes.
Like
Well, you could see in episode 3, not to cut you off, I'm sorry,
no, you're fine.
that she was disappointed
Yeah.
in his decision to do what he did.
Yep.
You could tell she was disappointed. It was in the way she looked and in the tone of her voice. Even though she was still very controlled, that emotion leaked out. And it leaked out again when she disabled his arm, because she was so disappointed in the fact that he was fighting them over it. Yeah.
But no, so but yeah, that first scene in episode 4, I just thought was amazing. And then I just love that Bucky in this season had so much sass.
Oh, I know.
He
obviously
just
like
sassafras.
He seemed like his old normal 40s Bucky self.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, a darker version.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't obviously as carefree and I guess naive would be the word.
Right.
Yeah.
But he was back to like he was cracking the jokes. He was being his sarcastic, kind of flirty self.
Yeah. No, but he was I just loved how sassy he was. And yeah, so I enjoyed that arc as well. I thought Bucky's arc was very, very good. And like I can't help but wonder what's gonna happen now, because like I almost feel like this could be a good ending in terms of Bucky's arc. You know what I mean? Like he's you know free. He was pardoned. He's made his amends. He's happy now. So like where are they gonna bring him from here is what I want to know. Like and I really I just wonder how much time we have left. And like Bucky is such a popular character, but like obviously Marvel's not going to be like, oh well, he's so popular, we're going to keep him around forever. Like you can't do that. So
Right.
I'm wondering where Sam's arc is almost just beginning now. Like he's Captain America. Bucky's I feel like is more coming toward an
To a
end.
close.
So yeah.
I feel that too. I do think maybe one more season for the Falcon Winter. Well, I guess it would be Captain America and the Winter Soldier now. Since
Should be
Sam
Captain America and the White Wolf.
And
They need to get rid of the Winter Soldier name. He's not the Winter Soldier anymore.
Right. He is no longer the Winter Soldier. He is the White Wolf. But every time I think of the White Wolf, I just think I honestly have to kind of segue into The Witcher, because that's what they called him there too. Geralt of Rivia was known as the White Wolf too. So it's just like it's always been like this disconnect for me. I'm like, wait a minute, Bucky's not the White Wolf. But anyway, back on track.
But and then going through the rest of the actors, I mean Daniel Bruhl.
Oh my god, that was
dancing in the club or at the party. That was hilarious.
That was great.
And then I love how like Seb posted that picture, how like the when Zemo's like touching Bucky's face, and he said that's like the one scene that he didn't laugh. I need to see bloopers.
Me too. That's just
like I need to see these bloopers, because
yes. I'm like I need to see how many times they had to redo that because Sebastian kept laughing.
Which is unusual for him, which makes me happy though, because that means like Seb felt very comfortable.
Yes.
But yeah, and then obviously having Emily Van Camp, Sharon Carter come back, and Sharon's not so cool no more. She's I'm interested to see what the arc is going to be for her.
I know.
I mean, I had mixed feelings about that, honestly.
Yeah, like you're kind of killing your family's legacy. Like I get it. Like I get that she was bitter. You know what I mean? Like she's bitter against the United States. She's bitter against like the Avengers. She had to do what she had to do when she was in Madripoor. But like, now you were pardoned. Sam got you what you wanted, and now you're going to use it with like being the power broker. Like,
yeah. In a way, I mean, they pretty much the entire fandom of Marvel knew she was going to be the power broker.
Oh yeah, it was noticeable after that one episode.
Yeah, what was that, episode 3?
Yeah,
it was like when she was on the phone talking, it was like we knew she was going to be the power broker.
Yeah.
So that was no surprise when it turned out she was the power broker. But at the same time, I kind of thought that was like it was good, but at the same time, it was such a horrible arc for her character.
Yeah.
To go down that road.
I just felt like that was just a weird decision. Honestly, having her be the power broker. I mean, yeah, it was just very strange. And them kind of shoehorning like that subplot on top of other subplots in a 6-episode season just felt like there were just too many things going on that kind of connected but didn't really connect in a way that made the pacing of the show actually make sense to me, at least. And I know other people have felt kind of like the same way.
Yeah, no, I definitely have heard that comment that they felt like and I get it, especially like I feel like the second half of the series or of the season, it was weird, you know? They could have put in a lot more to kind of bring everything together. And I feel like they didn't. They were just kind of all over the place. More episode 5, I feel like was kind of like a random like I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I just thought it kind of got like the last 2 episodes were almost like, "Oh crap, we have to like tie these loose ends. Let's go." Like
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, episode 5 wouldn't have felt so. Okay, I've heard some people complain that parts of like a good chunk of episode 5 was like too slow or even almost like off topic, but I kind of feel like if this was like say an 8 episode season,
mhm. Then it
then
would have been okay.
maybe episode 5 wouldn't have felt like, I don't want to call it a waste of time, but you know what I mean. It's like in terms of pacing, it almost feels like it's a waste of time spending all that time going into the personal stuff when it's so close to the end, because it just makes the pace it just makes the pacing of the narrative kind of go off
Right.
kind of bit.
No, I
Yeah.
definitely agree.
So which is why, like I was saying before, if it was like an 8 episode season, then it wouldn't have felt like it was going off the track or slowing down or whatever. Because in a way, when you have like a longer season, it kind of makes sense to have episodes like episode 5 where you kind of look at the more personal side of some of your characters, especially your main characters, because if you're a show where you're very action plot driven, sometimes you can lose a bit of the character development at times. So having episodes like that, in a 22 episode season would make sense. But yeah, when you've got only the 6 episodes, it does almost feel like it's a waste of time.
Yeah. I mean, obviously Sam practicing and like training to be like Captain America is like one thing like that obviously needed to happen to show you like okay, he's like accepted it. But
Mm-hmm.
I do agree like everything else didn't necessarily need to be in there. I honestly think they probably had enough inform I don't, obviously I don't know what they shot, but like there was enough going on that they could have added another episode or two to, kind of make some of those looser ends from episode 4 fit a little bit better, where it's like episode 4, okay, Zemo's gone. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Walker killed the guy. And then it's like episode 5, okay, the beginning was great, where Sam and Bucky confront Walker and fight and that whole thing. And then it was like literally after that first scene with the fight, it was just kind of like, okay. What just happened? We just like slowed down to like a stop. And like I mean, yes, the Zemo going to the raft with the Dora Milaje and like all that stuff, but like and kind of like explaining what happened to Walker. Okay, fine. But then like, everything with Sam and his family and his boat, like that's stuff that could have waited till like that last episode.
Yeah, because I kind of felt like they kind of rushed the last episode at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was like all of a
Yeah.
sudden all's good. Like Sam's nephew's now like Bucky. Like he was there a few weeks ago when they ran away from him. And now he's back and they're joking around and playing with him like he's their best friend. I'm like, I don't understand what just happened.
I know. I was kind of saying, I was
Yeah.
like, the hell is going on here? Why are we all acting like all of a sudden Bucky is best friends with these people?
Yeah, it's like a huge time jump as in the last scene.
Yeah.
Kind
Yeah,
of.
because I mean, he also made amends with all those people. When did you have time for that?
Right?
Yeah, that's why like it felt a little. I mean, it just felt a little strange. I mean, it's almost like. I mean, I don't know how serious they were about doing a season 2 beforehand, but it's possible they may have rushed through this because they had no confirmed plan on a season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, I think they only recently announced it, which makes me kind of question a little bit about like what is their like how do they plan these things ahead of time, because it's like if you guys already knew ahead of time that you were planning on doing a season 2, then the pacing and some of the decision making and like what story lines and subplots and whatever goes in here would have been better spread out, I guess, so that it these things are developed better and they make sense. But it kind of felt like they shoehorned like too many ideas in here. Like I was like what we were saying before about Sharon. The thing is that I don't mind Sharon showing up again because like we lost track of her after Civil War. But it's like the reveal that she's the power broker felt very odd to me. Because
Yeah.
I mean, just because it's like, first off, you like I get like what you were saying before, Sam, that like you get like I get that, she would have some bitter feelings about like why was I left behind out of all the people that helped you guys out? I got left out later, which to be fair is kind of a shitty thing to do with somebody. But
Yes, Steve.
but that's a whole other topic. But that we could really get into it in a later episode. But it's like it it just felt strange to me, like how she could have gotten into the position of being the power broker who is supposed to be like very like practically running Madripoor and all the black market underground stuff going on in there. It just felt strange to me, like how they had her reveal. Now I could believe her like finagling her way as a lieutenant or something like that, which initially that's what it looked like. But being the actual power broker, that just felt kind of odd to me. It's like, you guys are like throwing these ideas to make her more complex or something when she wasn't really that complex in the movies, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think they definitely could have made her like an assistant or something to the power broker. But yeah, because I mean, how did she manage to get to such a high power? And like, I mean, yeah, okay, great. You were a SHIELD agent, you were a member of the CIA. It's not like you were like the best agent known to man, that you were like able to fight your way through, you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, I definitely get that. They need to kind of explain as to how that happened, and maybe they will down the line. But in terms of like how you know, when did they make a decision about season 2? It almost feels like they made the decision to possibly do a season 2. Because I mean, did they confirm that it's going to happen, or we're all guessing because of how it's going in for the Emmys? Because it's going in as a drama as opposed to a limited series, right?
Right.
Yeah.
WandaVision is going to be the limited series.
Right. So we're all guessing that there's going to be a season 2, but my guess is that if they made that decision, maybe they made it after they had finished editing and everything, which, maybe they wanted to see how things were going to go. I don't know. I mean, though I don't see Marvel necessarily doing that. They seem pretty, meticulous in their planning.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just almost seemed like they had decided it after a lot of the editing and stuff was done. And by then it was too late to kind of spread some of this stuff out, because it would be different if like, there was cliffhangers on a lot of these subplots, because if there's going to be a season 2, or if it's going to eventually lead into a movie somewhere, then that's not a big deal. But if we don't know what's going to happen with a lot of these characters, I mean, we don't know when we're going to see Sharon or John Walker or Bucky again. Now we know when Sam's going to be popping up, but like, is season 2 going to be before Captain America 4? You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, there's a lot of questions in the air when it does, when it comes to that. But like, I definitely agree that the pacing, especially I feel more in the last 2 episodes, was just a little weird. It doesn't, I still enjoyed the episodes. I still thought the series or the season as a whole was awesome. I really did enjoy it. If it was a movie, I would have really enjoyed it. But yeah, I think they could have done certain things a little bit differently. But again, they may have just made those choices because they didn't know what was going to happen.
Right.
Yeah. Since we're bringing up like when, like since they only they literally just announced earlier, like as of this recording earlier this week, they made an announcement that the show runner, I think he's the showrunner for Falcon the Winter Soldier, he's going to be writing a script for a Cap 4.
Right.
And
Yes.
yeah, as to when that's going to happen, obviously, since they just announced it, they obviously are not going to tell us anything about when they're planning on this. But I'm looking up the upcoming movies, and I'm going to assume that Cap 4 is going to come up sometime like 2023 or later, because all the movies that are for this year and next year have already been announced. And
Right, and are either in production or
Filming.
filming.
Yeah.
Filming or they're in post-production.
Right. Yeah, so I'm looking at the list here. So obviously there's Black Widow, then Shang-Chi, then Eternals, Spider-Man No Way Home is coming out in December. Multiverse of Madness is next year. Love and Thunder
Love and Thunder will be next year.
Black Panther 2 is next year. Captain Marvel 2 is next year. They've only said Quantumania is sometime in 2022, but there's no confirmed date yet because it looks like they're still filming it. Same thing with Love and Thunder. It looks like they're still filming it. And there's also Guardians 3, which I'm assuming they're going to film right after Love and Thunder. Because from what I remember, some of the actors that are the Guardians, they went to Australia to film Love and Thunder because they show up in it. So after Quantumania, there, like I was saying, Guardians 3, which is scheduled for 2023, but obviously we don't know when. And then there's a mention of Fantastic Four, but that's up in the air. They don't know. They don't know when that's happening, but that's being developed right now. So presumably Cap 4 is going to be is not going to come out until at least 2023, which makes sense. Because I mean, they announced it, so that they're going to do it. So they have to write the script and everything.
That's sad. So they technically could do a season 2, obviously before then. If
they could.
If they start filming later this year.
I mean, it's possible, but the only issue would they have to change showrunners because he's gonna have to focus on Cap 4.
Yeah, but there was other writers too, so I don't know.
Yeah. He was just the show runner. He was the lead writer, but that doesn't mean he was the only writer. So
yeah, I think there was 2 others.
Right, but as the showrunner, your main job is to supervise the writing staff and making sure everything runs runs well, the whole like the production and the writing and everything. So if he's going to focus on working on the screenplay for Cap 4, then depending on when they opt to do a second season, they may have to have a different person be the showrunner.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is just sad to know that it could be a couple years before we see Sam again, and who knows about Bucky.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm looking forward to everything else, but those, I was always more partial to the Captain America saga myself. So,
Yeah.
and there's no like Avengers movies that like brings everyone together, and so it's yeah.
Well, not that they announced one.
Right. Doesn't mean that they're not hiding one. But I mean, that also makes me think like they just announced Captain America 4, but has it been in the works for a while? You know what I mean? Like we don't, just because it was just announced doesn't mean that they haven't been they hadn't talked about it. So whatever. Well, I guess we all just have to learn patience, which isn't my forte, but
That's not my strong point.
I mean, I'm like, I'm like a typical Pisces. I like imagining scenarios and envisioning things that may or may not actually happen. So I love speculating on these things.
yeah. But all right. So what was everyone's favorite part, I guess, of the series?
I don't know if there was really a favorite part for me.
I think my favorite part was seeing Sam fully embrace the Captain America persona.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was very good.
Like seeing him in the full suit, and then seeing him at like when he
Make
was
that speech.
when he made his speech, and he fully embraced the persona of Captain America, who he is on the inside. It's
Yep.
not about the looks; it's about the inside. That and the final scene with Sam and Isaiah Bradley.
Yeah, that was that was heartbreaking.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
you just, I was so happy for Isaiah. And it's like, yes, like Bucky introduced Sam, but I'm glad like Sam kept kind of like going back to him, and talking to him and stuff like that, and like being able to make sure that everything that he went through, all the pain, all the suffering, is now going to be acknowledged forever, next to Captain America Steve Rogers. Like he's right there with him, is so awesome. I was so happy that they did that. His suit, I liked it. The neck, like the headpiece with like the goggles, was a little weird to me. I don't know. That was like the only part that really bothered me. Other than that, I thought it looked fantastic. He looked awesome. I like that they figured out a way to have the shield and the wings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like, I mean, I know it looks kind of odd, but I think the idea was that they were trying to blend his original like identity as the Falcon with with Captain America, and yet making it uniquely him. Because when you think about when John Walker was Captain America, even though it obviously doesn't look exactly like Steve, the thing was it was meant to imitate Steve. And yet it the fact that it looked kind of off when John Walker was wearing it is like a visual symbolism, I guess, of how John is trying to live up to the legacy of Steve Rogers, and people kind of expect him to, and yet he falls really short, and he's very off in the role. And I think with the costuming with Sam at the end, it's meant to be a visual cue that he is going to be Captain America, but he's going to be his version that is representing him. And that's also accepting that he is the Falcon as well, because I guess his only superpower since he's not a super soldier, is his expertise at using the flight wings. So, I mean, it does look a little awkward, but it actually makes a lot of sense, though, the design.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I just thought
Yeah.
it looked a little just that one piece. Like I said, the rest of it looked fantastic. I really liked it.
No, I know, but I was just like, yeah. I mean, I get it does look kind of off, but yet it does actually make kind of sense of why they would go in that, like why they made it look like that, though, at the same
Yeah.
time.
But my favorite part actually was the fight with the Dora Milaje, Walker, and Lamar and Bucky and Sam. When Zemo gets away. I thought that was just such a huge moment. First of all, the Dora Milaje are badass, so
Right.
freaking, but you have John Walker. It just kind of showed at that moment how he really had no idea what he was getting himself into at that moment and how arrogant he was. And then like at the end of it, like the only thing he could say was they didn't even have super soldier serum. Like that whole episode really like spoke to me. But yeah, that was like my favorite scene. But like the part where like Zemo was saying how the serum enhances who you really are, and like how that's why like the flag smashers are all bad because really deep inside that's just like who they are. And Bucky was like, well, look at Steve, and Zemo's response was, but there's never been another Steve Rogers. And I know a lot of other people have talked about this, and I was thinking about it. Bucky's a good guy and he has the serum, you know what I mean? So it's like the reason why he was bad was because he was forced to by Hydra. But it just shows that Bucky is a good guy, is just as good of a guy as Steve was, because it didn't change him. But let's talk about the flag smashers. We've ignored them.
Yeah.
We have. We need to talk about them.
Okay, first off, I thought it was really interesting in general that they decide to have the Flag Smashers as a group, because there was actually a villain called Flag Smasher, and Flag Smasher was, I think, Carl Morgenthau, and Flag Smasher was a Captain America villain. So I thought it was kind of interesting decision that they made, that like they made the name into a group, and that this group had a similar philosophy as the original villain, but they changed it in a way where it actually makes sense in a post-snap, post-blip world, and simultaneously addressing very real world problems that we're experiencing right now. So I give them props for that.
It was interesting to see the fact that they went ahead and used a female as the leader of the flag smashers, instead of making it making it typically male, which I thought that was very interesting to do it that way.
Yeah. I read somewhere that the idea of having a Carly Morgenthau was to make the cause a little bit more relatable to the audience. And that was why they wanted to have a female leader of the Flag Smashers. And I guess, to be fair, having an idealistic young woman being the leader, does actually kind of add a level of sympathy, because, to be fair, some of the like some of the reasons why this got started and why it actually appealed to people actually does make a lot of sense, and you could understand why they feel that way, because, again, like I was saying before, was that it is a reflection of a very serious real world issue we are still experiencing now. I mean, we have millions of people who are refugees, who are displaced people who, for different circumstances and different reasons, cannot be in their country of origin. I mean, we're experiencing that all over in multiple parts of the world, and
Yeah.
it's a very serious problem. And you have thousands of, millions of people who are in a similar situation to some of the people that, like the flag smashers and some of their supporters are experiencing, because they are ultimately average people who are waiting for governments who are supposed to be for the people, in essence, and being in charge of society to help them, and yet you're stuck in a camp for months on end with very little resources, and it almost feels like it's never going to end and you're never going to get a home, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which is a very interesting decision, and for them to have that, in essence, be the villain of the series.
Yeah. It was just the way they did a lot of it was they were very head on and face forward when it came to the quote unquote hard topics, the uncomfortable topics.
I totally applaud them for like doing that. And
thanks for listening, everyone. Catch us next time.
And see what we're going to talk about.
Because the three fates decide.